I didn't go through all of these, but here's the list again. So presume now that in the designing a game, you've used all these ideas, you've started with a very vague starting point, and then you've explored and found rich game mechanics and made them very strong. How do you then do the concrete work of level design? How do you give this stuff to the player in the best way? And since Mark and I are both doing puzzle games, we figured the way to ask this very specifically is the way that we get asked all the time. How do you make good puzzles, right? What makes a good puzzle and what makes a bad puzzle? And what I always tell people is, first of all, you don't try to make them hard. Because that's the tradition of games, is making things hard. Especially in puzzle games, we have a picture in our head that a puzzle game is about, ha ha ha, this is too tricky for you, are you smart enough? But that's actually not necessarily that interesting, because it's easy to make it a really hard puzzle, right? It's not easy to make an interesting puzzle. But then I claim you don't even try to design good puzzles by trying to make good puzzles. Because if you try to make a good puzzle, you're drawing only on the things that you already know. You're making puzzles about things that are well within your understanding. And if they're within your understanding, they're within a lot of people's understanding. And so there's going to be a lot of people for which you're not showing them anything new. So what I say is, if you use this method that I'm talking about, where you explore, you look for things that are true, and then the puzzle itself is an illustration of those things. That's all that it needs to be. And when it is that, the resulting puzzle is going to be interesting. And I'll talk about why in a few slides at the very end. So I would say, in the method I'm talking about here, the point of having a puzzle is to show some truth to the player. So as a designer, for that puzzle to be good, you first of all have to know what that thing is that you're trying to communicate. And that sounds very straightforward, but actually most game designers, most of the time, don't know the point of what they're doing really. So if you know that, you're doing better than 99% of game designers. Once you at least have a vague idea about that, then you go look at your level design or your puzzle design